Tonight, a teenager accused of punching a police officer.
Cost of living pressures pushing families into debt.
Temperatures soar across the far north.
And a spike in school students caught with weapons.
This is 7 News with Rob Brough and Joanne Desmond.
Good evening. Thanks very much for joining us.
Good evening.
A teenager accused of stealing a car now faces more charges after he allegedly punched a police officer in the face before he was arrested. The 16-year-old will now be dealt with in Cairns Children's Court. Christina Puljak has more.
Rob, the boy, was part of a group who stole a vehicle on Abbott Street by the night markets around 6:45 on Friday night. Officers located the car in Menunda nearly 3 hours later.
When police intercepted the vehicle, he fled from the vehicle on foot and they gave chase.
The 16-year-old struggled with the officers who caught up to him before allegedly punching one of them in the face.
That was just in the course of the arrest, and he swung a punch at the police officer and struck them in the face.
He was searched and accused of possessing illegal items.
He was found to be in possession of some cash and illicit drugs.
The teen is also suspected of being involved in a bottle shop break-in in early December.
He has actually been charged with unlawful use of motor vehicle, serious assault police, obstructing police, possession of stolen property, possession of drugs. 2 others, aged 21 and 18, were charged with unlawful use of a motor vehicle over the Menunda incident. The 18-year-old was also charged with dangerous driving and driving without a licence. There were no reports of any serious injury to the police officer who was punched. Joe.
All right, thanks for that, Christina. A living and affordability report has found Queensland has the highest rent, energy, insurance and health prices in the country. Residents are delving deeper into debt just to be able to afford essential items.
On average, a working family's weekly budget is in a $200 deficit as the cost of living crisis worsens.
There are hundreds of thousands of Queenslanders currently struggling just to afford the basics.
A Queensland Council of Social Service report reveals the state is paying the highest amount for essential items. That's despite Queensland having the strongest economy with last year's surplus, a record $14 billion.
People are making impossible choices between keeping a roof over their head, 3 meals on the table, and paying the electricity bills.
In the 12 months to August 2023, fuel went up 14%, electricity 12.7%, insurance rose 8%, rent and transport 7%, food and housing was up 6%, while education and health increased by 5%. The average price of a basket of groceries is now $70 more.
Older people and young people who are making choices about whether or not they have air conditioning, whether or not they buy medicine, whether or not they buy food.
Today, the Premier announced a housing plan pending Cabinet approval.
We're going to build more homes faster, and that will include incentives to fast-track development. We want to do more to help Queenslanders to buy their first home. We want to deliver more social homes, and we want to work towards ending homelessness in Queensland.
Caitlin Stedman, 7 News.
The 34-year-old man has been charged with making a bomb threat inside an Anderson Street business last night. The man walked into the Leagues Club at 10 p.m, concealing his face with a hoodie.
He was challenged by security there, and at that time he made comments that he was in possession of a bomb. He would detonate it and they would die. Security guards phoned 000 and the man immediately fled the scene, but only made it to Martin Street, where he was arrested. He was charged with 1 count each of making a bomb threat and obstruct police.
Well, we all sweltered through the day as the mercury climbed into the mid-30s. The Weather Bureau has warned the extreme heat wave is expected to last until Wednesday.
Cyclone Kirrily was somewhat of an anticlimax, but in her wake, we're all feeling the heat.
Yeah, she's bloody hot.
Temperatures and humidity soared as those who could escaped to the beaches and pools.
Because I don't work, I just come and stay in the water. In the pool it's okay, when you walk outside it's not too much okay.
Cold drinks and ice cream were in high demand.
Actually this morning I sold a whole heap of ice blocks, a few drumsticks,
water. Heat events are responsible for more deaths and natural disasters in Australia, so residents are urged to stay out of the sun, drink 2 to 3 litres of water and know the signs of heat exhaustion. The Bureau warns temperatures are likely to peak tomorrow or Wednesday.
Temperatures, in fact, around Cairns could hit 35, even 36 during Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's going to feel more like into the 40s.
But nighttime rainfall is expected in the later half of the week, bringing some daytime relief.
Daytime maxes will cool down a little to the latter part of this week, but it will bring the risk of maybe some localised moderate or heavy falls.
As the heat builds, experts reassure that it doesn't mean another cyclone is around the corner.
At this stage, the tropical cyclone risk is considered very low. Ex-tropical cyclone Kirrily is expected to remain overland.
Sophie McManus, 7 News.
Police have ruled out foul play in the death of a man at a Warrior apartment complex on Australia Day. 27-year-old Clarence Barlow was found unresponsive in a unit on Sondriaro Street at 1 p.m. after a neighbour called 000. Families say he was holidaying in Cairns and are devastated by the shock and sudden loss of Clarence. A GoFundMe page has been set up to help cover funeral and travel costs.
There are calls for a zero-tolerance approach to drugs and weapons being brought into Queensland schools after new data revealed thousands of incidents were reported last year. A disturbing rise in vaping is believed to be driving up the numbers of drug-related incidents.
Confronting scenes are becoming common in Queensland schools. On the Sunshine Coast, a student allegedly armed with a knife sent classrooms into lockdown. In Rockhampton, 35 students were caught vaping in a toilet block, both videos painting a shocking picture of schools in 2023.
The state Labor government is losing control of safety in our schools.
In response to a question on Notice, Education Minister Di Farmer revealed students were suspended or excluded 600 times for weapons-related incidents in 2023 and 6,000 times for drug-related incidents. That includes the use of tobacco and vaping.
We did see, particularly through 2023, a large spike in vaping incidences in our schools.
The state opposition is calling for a zero-tolerance approach to crack down on the behaviour.
This is jeopardising both student safety, but also the safety and welfare of teachers and staff.
And potentially adding more strain to a profession that's already under pressure.
We have students coming with increased complexity into our schools. We know that our schools are not properly resourced to do the full job that they need to do.
Jade Richards, 7 News.
We'll take a break in a moment. New research laying bare Gen Z's bedtime phone habits.
And the mayoral race officially begins with 5 candidates locked in.
Cairns turns to 7 News to keep up to date on local issues, and we want you to be a part of it. If there's something happening in your street, your suburb, we want to know about it. Send us a message or drop us an email.
Thanks for joining us here on 7. Well, the local government elections have officially begun after months of controversy following Bob Manning's resignation. There are 5 contenders for the top job, including current Mayor Terry James.
5 candidates, 2 independents and 3 team leaders are all in the hunt for the top spot. Dennis Walls is a former university teacher from the Community First Party.
We're going to move to much more consultation with the community, so we're going to have public forums.
Paul Taylor is a former Deputy Police Commissioner.
Whilst it's in the state domain, there's a lot of things council can practically do, partnering with many sporting and recreational associations.
Amy Eden fronts Team Eden and is a Division 5 councillor.
And we've got 3 core values that really set us apart. We've got accountability, transparency and engagement.
Then there's the current Mayor Terry James and John Kelly, an independent. Although the campaign officially started today, the candidates have been vocal since Bob Manning's resignation last November, giving them plenty of time to get acquainted with each other.
Paul Taylor's a one-trick pony. He's just pushing hard on crime.
A one-trick pony? Oh, look, I think I got a lot of tricks for a pony.
Transparency and accountability are key topics, but other changes are being promised.
A review of the resilience strategy for Cairns, because we've seen a major issue in the Northern Beaches.
Wellbeing really taking into the housing and obviously the safety aspects.
Residents can check the Electoral Commission website for more information.
Go with the person you believe who has the skills and the attributes.
Sophie McManus, 7 News.
An emergency alert has been issued for Kuranda due to critically low levels of water. Mareeba Shire Council says sand is blocking the flow from the town's plant and a leak has caused the reservoir to drop to 20%. A public notice was issued this morning urging residents not to swim in the Barron River, with the breakage and blockage causing sewerage to be released into the river. Locals should only consume water for essential or emergency use.
Well, this research probably won't come as a surprise, but it shows that most Australians struggle to take a break from technology. In the case of Gen Zs, 3/4 of those surveyed are on their phone 3 minutes before bed and within 30 seconds of waking up. And it's not making them happy.
Heads down, thumbs up. According to new research, phone addiction is far more prevalent than first thought.
I'm 17 and I use it every day. I reckon 4 or 5 hours a day.
A survey found 80% of young people use their phones just before bed, and older cohorts aren't much better. It's 60% of those aged 45 to 59. And most Aussies have their phones front of mind as soon as they wake up. 3/4 of Aussies under 44 reach for it within 3 minutes. Just a third of boomers do the same.
More than half of Australians say they're now trying to reduce the time they spend on social media. Tells us that we've got a problem.
Younger generations might be addicted, they're also acutely aware of it. 7 in 10 believe social media negatively impacts their mental health.
Big tech is designing these algorithms to make us scroll more. It gives us more of what we're looking at, and so it can become very addictive.
According to psychologists, the lack of sleep adds insult to injury.
There's a lot of brain science around now that shows that the brain effectively cleans itself overnight and removes some of those chemicals that contribute to anxiety and depression.
Experts say one way to tackle phone addiction is to get an old-fashioned alarm clock, so people aren't reaching for their device first thing in the morning.
My mum's rule is that I have to charge my phone outside my room.
Smart mum, can you see why she does it?
Yes, definitely. It makes it much easier.
Christy Cooper, 7 News.
I don't think it's only Gen Zs. I think we're all a little guilty of doing that, aren't we?
Indeed, Joe. Whoops. I'm surprised it took 30 seconds to grab the phone in the morning. Right. Now a new era for our Cowboys coming up, Nate.
Yeah, exciting here, Brough. North Queensland has new co-captains. They are Tom Dearden and Ruben Cotter, and they cannot wait to lead from the front. We'll hear from them next. And the Taipans' last push to make the finals will see them take on the NBL's top 3 teams.
Stream 7 News anywhere, anytime, live and on demand on 7plus. And with 7news.com.au, you'll know the news now.
And welcome back. Well, the Taipans' playoff hopes are pinned on their final 3 games, and they are against the league's top 3 teams, starting with Tasmania at home on Thursday at the Snake Pit. It comes after the Snakes fell out of the 6 with a gruesome 17-point loss to the resurging 36ers in Adelaide.
Cairns' season continues to seesaw after the Taipans were handed their second loss in a row. The Adelaide 36ers held Cairns to 71 points, their lowest score of NBL 24.
First half they had 36 points in the paint, and that was basically one-on-one, not helping each other, rotating, and just hold your ground.
My first game coaching was against that team on this court, and they had 115, 116 points.
Taipans imports Tajir McCall and Pat Miller struggled to buy a bucket throughout the evening, combining for just 4 of 23 from the field.
It's just not solely on them, it was on all of us. And so, again, the result, the score reflected our performance.
Lat Mayen fell short of a double-double with 15 points and 9 boards, while DJ Vasiljevic top-scored for Adelaide with 28.
Works to the opening, knocks down the triple.
The 26-year-old is off the market for 3 more years after extending his deal with the 36ers this morning.
I mean, we're trying to play the play-in, so I'm trying to stick around. I'm trying to get my bonus check for the semi-finals, so I'm trying to win as many games as I possibly can.
For the Snakes, the going only gets tougher.
The next 3 games against the top 3 teams.
They include battles with Melbourne United and the Perth Wildcats, who both clinched finals berths in round 17. But first, the Tasmania Jack Jumpers in round 18 at the Snake Pit on Thursday night.
These 2 games, right, were opportunity for us to make a push for that top 4 spot. I think it's a true reflection of probably where we're at.
Jonathan Simon, 7 News.
Cowboys' Reuben Cotter and Tom Dearden have opened up on what it means to them to be named North Queensland's new co-captains for this year's NRL campaign. Dearden is the youngest skipper in club history, while Cotter cannot wait to lead the team out that he's supported his entire life.
Reuben Cotter is Cowboys through and through, but even running around as a junior in Mackay, captaining the club seemed like a distant dream.
Supported this club since I could remember. I played all my footy here in North Queensland. You know, very proud just to be captaining alongside Tommy Dearden.
Dearden, who'll turn 23 just a few days after he leads North Queensland out against Redcliffe in the opening round of the season, is the club's youngest skipper.
Pretty special. I think when you look back at the history of the players that have captained this club, there's been some great captains, and to be able to fill that role and be after those players is something that I'm really excited about.
Not quite a case of out with the old and in with the new, but age was a factor in 30-year-old Jason Taumalolo and 33-year-old Chad Townsend being relieved of their duties.
Chaddy and Jace, they're both great leaders in their own ways, and it's going to be interesting this year, and you know, I've still got a lot to learn.
With us going into this role, and I know they're just going to be shoulders to lean on, and we're going to get so much advice from them in this transition period.
The fresh faces in charge have similar ideas on how they want the team to be viewed moving forward.
There's a team that just never lets each other down and doesn't let the North Queensland region down.
Hard-working, an effort-based sort of team, and you know, just giving it our all every time we go out there.
The kind of determination and desire Dearden and Cotter continuously deliver, making them the perfect pair to take the reins this year and beyond. Nathan Ferguson, 7 News.
Far North trainer Stephen Massingham and jockey Ryan Wiggins have continued their successful partnership, claiming another 2 wins at Chinese New Year's race day at Cannon Park. It was also a dream weekend for Townsville trainer Georgie Holt, whose preparation was hampered in the lead-up due to tropical cyclone Kirrily. She picked up a race 3 win with apprentice jockey Mackenzie Arpel in the saddle.
Trying to get up on the inside, but this is skipped away. Average Jane for Mackenzie Arpel. It's going to bolt in. Average Jane, Nazorian second.
Holt later secured her own double with Arpel riding Manavala to another win in race 5. And Brough Joe just back on the Cowboys. Exciting news, Tommy Dearden and Reuben Cotter. Got a feeling they're going to do a great job as co-captains, guys.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you.
All right, we'll stay with us. Livio will tell us why we're having this heat wave just after the break.
Good evening, Livio, Regano with tonight's weather. Well, post-cyclone humidity has reached epic levels and many Queensland towns are on the verge of breaking records. Heavy rain should hopefully take the edge off maximum daytime temperatures tomorrow in the south and then eventually in the north later this week. Hot nights have been the real kicker, a direct consequence of the overheated Coral Sea, which isn't about to cool down. Cairns started out with a low this morning of 27 degrees. To the satellite loop now, you can see the spiral nature of ex-Kirrily still over northwest Queensland producing flooding rains. Evacuations are present in the area. In the southeast, it's also starting to fill in with heavy rain. We've got saturated atmosphere to depth. You can feel the moisture. It couldn't be possibly fuller with water. It's already started raining heavy on the Darling Downs, and in the next 12 hours, it'll fill in right across the southeast. Now today's chart, monsoon trough across central Queensland. There's the low that was Kirrily sitting right on top of it. Exceptionally humid winds in the tropics coming from the Arafura Sea and crossing the equator. On tomorrow's chart, we have a new trough forming offshore, producing the uplift required for the heavy rain in southeast Queensland. As the southeasterly pushes north later in the week, we'll get that heavy rain in the tropics as well. To the latest from BOM, boating forecast for Cairns waters north-northwesterlies up to 20 knots tomorrow. That's the monsoon wind, same again on Wednesday. and on Thursday dropping back to 10 to 15 knots. As we swiftly sail away from Friday's full moon, our tidal peaks are softening. Tomorrow's high tide's expected around late morning to lunchtime, and it's not that big. North tropical coast and tablelands, the heat wave warning persists. Showers with possible storms tomorrow. Cairns 27 to 35 degrees, Atherton 31, Innisfail 34, Mareeba 33. Looking ahead for Cairns, increasing rainfall during the second half of this week may take the edge off our top temperatures, but sadly there's no relief in sight to these disgustingly hot, humid nights. For Atherton it's the same, the temperatures are a bit more mellow, but as you can see, nights are still way too warm for this time of year. We all know it's been a hot summer, but why does humidity make the heat so much worse? Thing is, you sweat just as much in dry heat, but your sweat evaporates before you even realise it. Evaporation helps carry heat away from your body and keep the skin cool. But on humid days, the air's so saturated it can't evaporate your sweat properly. It's like trying to dry a towel in a damp closet. Perspiration just sticks to your skin and the body has no way of cooling itself. Hope that makes sense, and I hope the heat passes soon. Now it's back to the team.
Yeah, wonderful, Liv. Good on you, mate. Thanks very much for your company, and we'll catch you tomorrow night.
And also just a reminder, you can watch a replay of our news on the 7plus app or catch up on our page, 7news.com.au. And from all of us here, good night.
Good night.